Welcome, you're watching Vox News, your daily evening news with Rita Kamkumo. Our headlines today: Kenyan scientists in Nairobi are testing the efficiency of traditional cure ZEDUPEX against coronavirus. Nigeria's president receives doses of COVID organics from Madagascar that will be scientifically tested. Opposition parties in Malawi hold their first rally as part of their alliance ahead of July's presidential election. Our top story today: health authorities in Kenya officially announced over the weekend that they may have found an effective cure against COVID-19 in the middle of the global health crisis. The Nairobi-based Kenya Medical Research Institute is conducting tests on the efficiency of an already known traditional herbal and antiviral treatment called ZEDUPEX that could cure coronavirus. The product was presented to the Health Committee of the National Assembly by Professor Yeri Kombe, Director General of the Kenya Medical Research Institute. The use of the herbal drug was officially approved in 2015 by Kenyan health authorities and is indicated for the treatment of genital herpes. Since then, ZEDUPEX has been marketed in the country as a powder, available in packs of 250 grams and as a cream. In Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari received on Saturday several bags of COVID organics from Madagascar given to him by Guinea-Bissau's President Umaru Sissoco Embalo on a visit to Abuja. According to Malagasy authorities, the herbal tea, mainly composed of Artemisia, is efficient in the prevention and treatment of the new coronavirus. However, President Buhari assured on Twitter that the beverage will have to be thoroughly tested by scientists and that it will not be distributed to Nigerian patients without the authorization of Nigerian regulatory institutions. In Tanzania, President John Magufuli, whose government is highly criticized by the opposition for its lack of transparency in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic, said on Sunday that the number of people infected with the virus has drastically decreased in the country thanks to the prayers of the Tanzanians.
The number of patients suffering from coronavirus in our country has drastically dropped. For example, hospitals like Hamana, which had 198 COVID-19 patients, dropped to 12 today. Longanzila had 30, but there are now 6. With this trend, if the current situation continues through next week, I'm planning to reopen our universities so that our children can go back to school, but also our sports events will resume since sports is a big part of our lives.
President Magufuli, a devout Christian, suggested that the pandemic could soon be over in the country and that as a result there will be no lockdown and the country will be able to help its neighboring countries.
There is not going to be any such things as lockdown in Tanzania. Gold will help us. We need to work hard. Once they are done with their lockdown, they will come to us and we shall still help them with food. We will not discriminate against them.
With a total of 56.3 million inhabitants, Tanzania has recorded 509 cases of coronavirus contamination, including 183 recoveries and 21 deaths, according to the last official data released on the 29th of April. In Liberia, following President George Weah's announcement of the reopening of places of worship, some churches in the country, where 85.5% of the population is of the Christian faith, resumed their service on Sunday, despite the threat of coronavirus, a relief for some religious leaders and worshippers.
For this decision the government has taken, we believe God, the church now will not have time to pray. Though we can pray at home, but there is the power of corporate prayers when the body of Christ will come together. And we trust God that we continue to pray concerning this pandemic, not just only for Liberia, the entire world shall be liberated.
First of all, I will tell God thank you for giving the people the strength to be able to attend in service today, because it was so bad by closing church, and more people, in the house of God, that where you find more people have that spirit of God.
However, churches that reopened doors have implemented new security measures such as hand washing, temperature controls, and of course, social distancing.
Yes. All measures are being put in place. The social distancing, people wash their hands, people use their masks. We follow all the protocols of the health measures.
Not all churches resumed service. Several churches in Liberia chose to delay the reopening of their premises for ordinary church activities until the end of May due to the daily increase of COVID-19 cases in the country. Despite the coronavirus pandemic, 9 opposition parties in Malawi held their first political rally in Lilongwe since they allied to compete against ruling Democratic Progressive Party ahead of the unprecedented presidential election rerun scheduled for the 2nd of July.
We continue to thank the court judges for working without fear, the first 5 judges and the 7 others, and let's not forget the judge who said our cases should be merged. They all did a good job.
Malawi's Vice President Saulos Chilima urged Malawians to vote for Lazarus Chakwera, who is not only his running mate, but the torchbearer for them all.
Right now it's well known, it's well spelled. Malawi wants honest leaders. Malawi wants a leader that doesn't believe in nepotism, segregation. A Malawi that a leader doesn't see his tribe. A Malawi that a leader doesn't see his region. I think Malawians, they just want to be one now. I think it's about time Malawi want to be looked that way.
The country will hold presidential elections about 2 months after the Constitutional Court overturned the results of last year's controversial election, which granted outgoing President Peter Mutharika a second term. Elections continue in Benin, where Beninese voters headed to polls on Sunday to elect municipal and communal councillors in the 77 communes of the country, despite the coronavirus pandemic and calls to boycott the election.
We opened the polling station at 7:17 a.m. and we have 432 registered voters. So far, we have 38 people who have passed.
I am a good citizen. The vote is going very well and there are no incidents to report.
In addition to the political stakes set up by sponsoring mayors for the 2021 presidential election was a health issue due to the coronavirus pandemic.
The state has taken adequate measures, and when you come to vote, you take a hand sanitizing gel, a mask, and then you go and vote. The government has taken measures to avoid contamination, which guarantees our safety.
However, turnout was low as several major opposition parties were deliberately absent from Sunday's vote. The results of the votes will be published by the Autonomous National Electoral Commission by the 24th of May. In Burundi, as the first round of voting in the presidential election is due to take place on Wednesday, the ruling party and its candidate, General Evariste Ndayishimiye, ended their election campaign on Saturday in Bujumbura.
I am from the north and the south. I am the child of Burundi. Each one of you has delegated me, and I am at your disposal. I come to be the servant of all, my dear Burundians.
As it's mandatory, all political parties are stopping their campaigns. Now we are waiting to deliver on May 20, and we are confident of a victory.
Another final campaign rally was held over the weekend ahead of the first round of the presidential election, that of the National Congress for Liberty, the party of the main opponent, Agathon Brazza, in an airfield filled with his supporters near the country's administrative capital, Gitega.
The first thing he will do for us is to eradicate injustice in the country, poverty, eradicate all other obstacles that prevent the freedom of every Burundian to be in peace and tranquility in his country of milk and honey.
Burundians are being killed every day. We are tired. We want change in this country. That's why we want the Honorable Agathon Rwasa to win these elections 100%.
Since the beginning of the electoral campaign, the opposition has denounced elections that will take place behind closed doors, without any independent international or national observers, such as civil society. The Burundian government officially rejected any deployment of observers from the United Nations, the African Union, or the European Union. In Rwanda, the main association of survivors of the 1994 genocide applauded the arrest on Saturday morning of Felicien Kabuga, the man accused of having financed the genocide, wishing that the suspect be extradited and trialed in Rwanda, according to the president of the Ibuka Association, Pierre Dusingizemungu. Mr. Kabuga, who is prosecuted by international justice for genocide, incitement to genocide, and conspiracy to commit genocide, is expected to be tried in The Hague, in the Netherlands, but the survivors wish he be tried where he committed the crimes. The president of the Ibuka Association added that the French government supported the genocidaires in the past and helped them flee and escape justice, and therefore deemed the fact that Mr. Kabuga was arrested in France a significant step. 84-year-old Félicien Kabuga was arrested on Saturday morning in the Paris suburbs after more than 20 years on the run. For his part, Jean Damessen Bizimana, human rights activist and Secretary General of the National Commission for the Fight Against Genocide, said that the arrest of Mr. Kabuga is a relief for the survivors of the genocide, especially during the annual remembrance period of the tragedy.
We are very happy that Félicien Kabuga is arrested for the 100 days because we are still in the period of commemoration of the genocide committed against the Tutsi. We are in May, in the middle of May, and we were in 1994. There were more than 700,000 people approximately who were already massacred at this time. You have to understand that when you arrest someone who took part in a genocide, somewhere a survivor of the genocide is relieved. He is relieved to see that a criminal of this level will answer for his actions, but the survivor will remain marked by the loss of his family.
The genocide in Rwanda caused 800,000 deaths between April and July 1994, according to the United Nations. Finally, in Burkina Faso, Thomas Sankara's Land of People of Integrity, a giant statue of the revolutionary icon has been reinstalled on Sunday in the country's capital city Ouagadougou after alterations were made to improve his likeness to the former president who was murdered in 1987.
I offer my apologies on behalf of the whole team for the imperfections which arose during the first phase, and in particular for the shock they caused to the comrades. We fully admit that.
The statue was taken down the very next day after it was originally unveiled in March 2019, following criticism of its lack of resemblance to Captain Sankara.
I was indeed shocked the first time I saw it because the image didn't look like him at all. However, this time around it is his image. All human work is perfectible, and we think that with all the mobilizations around the personality of Thomas Sankara, when the memorial is going to end, we will have a true portrait.
The International Committee at the Thomas Sankara Memorial assured that more statues of the late anti-imperialist leader will be established in the near future at the Ouagadougou Museum. That's it for today. Thank you for watching Vox News.